Around 200,000 migrant workers in Malaysia face conditions of exploitation and forced labor, with Malaysia downgraded to the lowest ranking in the latest US Department of State Human Trafficking report. Zenna from Pinkcollar, an employment agency dedicated in promoting ethical recruitment of migrant workers, shares her insights on current hiring practices for the group.
In Malaysia, there's an estimated 2 million documented migrant workers in the country, and around 250,000 of these migrant workers are registered domestic helpers. The migrant recruitment industry is pretty broken and quite fragmented, which results in bad results for the employers, where you can expect about 40% of migrant worker job placements to fail within the first 3 months of employment. So we've seen that as a result of poor results of, the success of these placements, it has caused a bit of a systemic bias and distrust between migrant workers and their employers in Malaysia, which worsens the use and makes it pretty common for them to utilize forced labor practices to keep workers in jobs. So, for example, about 35% of migrant domestic helpers would have their passports or identity documents withheld. About 43% would be restricted from leaving the homes that they work in. And generally, migrant workers would often have to forego about up to 8 months of their salaries to repay illegal and very, very high recruitment fees. So the estimation really is that around 200,000 migrant workers in Malaysia currently face conditions of forced labor and labor exploitation.
Zenna said in providing ethical hiring services, migrant workers need to have access to their legal rights.
As a licensed agency, we kind of work to provide a win-win situation. So customers get a better way to hire, and workers get access to safe migration with jobs that do not charge them any fees. So right now, we have started operating since 2019, and we've placed around 230 workers from the Philippines who gain access to jobs in Malaysia in a recruitment process that doesn't charge them any salary deductions or any placement fees. We provide workers with accurate information about their jobs, important training on their legal rights, and training them for migration preparedness as well. And when they start working in Malaysia, we continue providing access to grievance mechanisms for our workers. So we've achieved over 270,000 ringgit in recruitment debt savings for our migrant workers. And we also received a grant from a US-based organization called the Global Fund to End Modern Slavery to now expand our hiring services into Indonesia for the domestic help sector and also expand to a new sector in manufacturing.
Hiring ethically will also lead to better performance and retention in the workplace. Therefore, Pinkcollar's co-founder, Sophia Jamal, reminds us to take a step back and assess our treatments to migrant workers in the country.
Many agencies such as ours also take up ethical recruitment. Something you could do is really make that choice as you're hiring, either for your household, or for a company. If you're hiring for, manufacturing companies, for example, take a step back and consider, how do I do this ethically, right? Where should I look for the resources? And there are a lot of resources out there that share, human trafficking indicators that Zenna had already shared. So just that small choice to hire ethically could make a huge difference in the long run. And if you already have a worker, right, in your household, or, if in your factories, we think it's great to be conscious and aware of your workers' contractual rights and try to practice them. Because in our experience as well, it naturally leads to better performance in workers and also retention outcomes, which we know is important for all companies and all households.